a step-by-step guide to transcending negative thought patterns for a calmer, conscious life. We begin here, together, in the vast and intimate landscape of your mind. You, I, and every one of us are bound by the invisible threads of thought that define our lives. Yet, often, these threads weave a web of negativity, holding us captive. Today, I invite you on a journey not away from yourself, but into the very heart of who you are. This is not a simple journey, but it is a liberating one. Let me ask you, how often have you felt trapped by your own thoughts? As if you were imprisoned by something that is supposed to serve you? Negative thought patterns are like shadows cast by the bright light of awareness. The brighter your light, the sharper these shadows seem. But here's the paradox: the shadows are not enemies. They are guides. Signposts pointing toward places in yourself that long to be healed. Do you see your shadows this way? Or do you run from them? Let us begin with the first step, which is to recognize. Recognition is not about fighting the thoughts or pushing them away. It's about seeing them clearly, as they are, without judgment. Imagine sitting on the bank of a river, watching the current carry leaves downstream. Each leaf represents a thought. You don't jump into the river to grab the leaves, you simply observe. This is what we aim to do with our negative thoughts. Try this now. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And notice your thoughts. What arises? Perhaps it is doubt, fear, anger, or regret. Don't push it away. Welcome it. Say to yourself, "Ah, here you are." Ask this thought: why have you come to me? What do you want me to see? Notice the difference this makes. When you stop resisting, you begin to disarm the power of the thought. But recognition alone is not enough. Once you recognize, you must investigate. This step requires courage because it asks you to look deeper. Most of us are afraid of what we might find if we truly examine our thoughts. But what if the act of investigation is the key to your liberation? Let me share a secret: your thoughts are rarely about the world outside. They are mirrors reflecting your inner landscape. When a negative thought arises, ask yourself, what belief am I holding that allows this thought to take root? Trace it back to its source. For example, if you often think, "I'm not good enough," don't stop at the thought. Ask yourself, why do I believe this? Where did this belief come from? Was it a voice from your childhood? A comparison to someone else? A failure you experienced? By tracing your thought to its origin, you begin to see that it is not a universal truth. It is simply a story you have been telling yourself. Now, let me ask you this: if the story you tell yourself shapes your reality, what kind of story do you want to tell? This brings us to the next step: reframe. Reframing is the art of choosing a new story. But this is not about lying to yourself or pretending everything is fine. It's about finding the deeper truth. Take the thought, "I'm not good enough," and reframe it. What if you said instead, "I am enough as I am. And I am growing every day." Do you feel the shift in energy? One statement imprisons you, the other sets you free. Let us practice this together. Think of a recurring negative thought you have. Write it down. And then write a new thought that reflects growth, possibility, and kindness. When the negative thought arises again, gently replace it with your new thought. At first, it may feel unnatural. That's okay. Every new habit feels awkward in the beginning. But with time, it will become second nature. But reframing is only the surface. True transformation requires embodiment. This is where we move from the mind to the body, from thought to action, Ask yourself, how does my body react when I am caught in negative thought patterns? Do my shoulders tense? Does my breath become shallow? Notice these physical responses. And then do the opposite. Relax your shoulders. Take a deep, full breath. Smile. Even if you don't feel like it. You might wonder, how can something as simple as smiling make a difference? The answer lies in the connection between body and mind. When you shift your physical state, your mental state begins to follow. Lastly, we arrive at the most profound step, transcendence. To transcend negative thought patterns is not to eliminate them but to rise above them. Imagine standing on a mountaintop, looking down at the valleys below. From this perspective, you see the thoughts for what they are, small, transient, and powerless to define you. How do we cultivate this perspective? Through meditation, through presence, through the simple act of being here. Now, close your eyes and breathe deeply. Feel the air entering your lungs, the weight of your body against the chair, the beat of your heart. In this moment, there are no negative thoughts. There is only awareness. And awareness is the ultimate freedom. As we conclude this part of our journey, I leave you with a question: if you are not your thoughts, then who are you? Breaking the chains of thought, a journey into limitless awareness. Let us continue. Together, we venture further into the labyrinth of the mind, seeking not merely to escape but to transform. What if I told you that the very chains binding you to your negative thoughts are forged by something you can control? And if you hold the power to create those chains, you also hold the power to break them. Would you dare to wield this power? We spoke of transcending negative thought patterns. And now we delve deeper, beyond recognition, investigation, reframing, and embodiment. Now, we examine the nature of thought itself. What is a thought? Truly, is it a spark of creativity? A shadow of memory? A signal of fear? Or is it merely an echo, a sound reverberating through the cavern of your mind, fading the moment you stop chasing it? Pause for a moment. Reflect on this. If a thought arises but you give it no attention, does it truly exist? Try this now. Close your eyes and picture a clear sky. When a cloud drifts into your vision, imagine it dissolving with your breath. You may notice that the act of observing the cloud, without resistance, causes it to fade. This is the nature of thoughts. They come and go. But they are not you. They do not define you unless you cling to them. And yet, clinging is our default mode. Why? Because we confuse thinking with solving, and suffering with meaning. We believe that by dwelling on our problems, we will somehow unravel them. But ask yourself, how often has overthinking solved your problems? And how often has it left you more entangled? To break the chains of thought, we must cultivate a new way of being, mindfulness. Mindfulness is not merely a practice, it is a state of presence, a quality of attention. It is the art of living in the here and now. But how do we live mindfully when the mind seems determined to pull us into the past and the future? Begin with your breath. Your breath is an anchor, a lifeline to the present. It is always with you, steady and constant. Try this. Place your hand on your chest and feel your breath moving in and out. Inhale deeply. Then exhale slowly, releasing tension with each breath. As you do this, notice the space between thoughts. It is in this space that freedom begins. But mindfulness extends beyond the breath. It is also the act of fully engaging with whatever you are doing. When you eat, do you taste each bite? Or is your mind already on the next task? When you listen to a friend, do you hear their words? Or are you busy preparing your response? True mindfulness requires us to slow down, to be fully here. Ask yourself, what would it feel like to live as if this moment were all there is? This brings us to a profound truth: to break free from negative thought patterns, we must embrace discomfort. Negative thoughts often arise because we resist what is. We want life to be different, easier, more in line with our expectations. But life does not bend to our will, it flows as it will. Resistance creates suffering. Acceptance creates peace. Let me share a practice with you. When you encounter discomfort, whether it is a negative thought, an unpleasant emotion, or a challenging situation, do not fight it. Instead, welcome it as a teacher. Say to yourself, "This is here to teach me something. What can I learn?" You may find that the act of welcoming transforms the discomfort into wisdom. Yet, there is a paradox: while we must accept the present, we must also actively shape our future. This is not a contradiction. It is a dance, a balance between surrender and intention. Ask yourself, what kind of life do you wish to create? And how can you begin to align your thoughts and actions with that vision? Starting now. Here is where affirmations come into play. Affirmations are not about pretending or forcing positivity. They are about planting seeds of truth in your subconscious mind. Choose an affirmation that resonates with you, such as, "I am worthy of peace," or "I have the power to create a joyful life." Repeat it often, not as a ritual, but as a reminder of what is possible. Over time, this new story will begin to overwrite the old one. But even as we plant seeds, we must remain vigilant. Negative thought patterns are persistent because they are rooted in habit. And habits, as you know, are not easily broken. This is where self-compassion becomes essential. You will stumble. You will fall back into old patterns. When this happens, do not punish yourself. Instead, treat yourself as you would a dear friend, kindly, patiently, and with understanding. And now, let me ask you a question that may unsettle you. Who would you be without your negative thoughts? Take a moment to imagine this. Without the weight of doubt, fear, and self-criticism. Who are you? What might you accomplish? How might you feel? As we approach the close of this part, I leave you with a simple but powerful exercise. At the end of each day, take a moment to reflect. Write down one negative thought that arose during the day and how you responded to it. Then write down one positive thought or moment of gratitude. Over time, this practice will help you see the patterns in your thinking and shift your focus toward growth and joy. Remember, this journey is not about erasing thoughts. It is about reclaiming your power over them. The chains that bind you are made of nothing but belief. The key to breaking them lies in your own hands. From chaos to clarity, discovering the infinite potential of the present moment. As we journey deeper, we now move from taming the mind to exploring its boundless potential. The mind, when free from the chaos of negative patterns, becomes a limitless canvas for creation, clarity, and connection. But before we begin, let me ask you, what does it mean to truly live in the present? Is it merely a moment-to-moment awareness? Or is it the key to unlocking the vastness of your existence? To live fully in the present moment is to dissolve the illusion of separation between you and life itself. Yet, we are conditioned to live in two illusory realms, the past and the future. The past is a shadow, a collection of memories shaped by perception. The future is a projection, a landscape painted by our hopes and fears. The present, however, is real. It is the only place where life actually happens. But why is it so difficult to stay in the present? The answer lies in attachment. We cling to the past because it defines us. And we grasp at the future because it promises us something the present seems to lack. Both attachments pull us away from the now, leaving us adrift in an endless sea of dissatisfaction. Let us return to clarity. Imagine holding a glass of muddy water. If you shake the glass, the water remains cloudy. But if you set it down and allow it to be still, the sediment settles, and the water becomes clear. Your mind is no different. In its natural state, it is clear and calm. It is only when stirred by incessant thought that it becomes clouded. Try this practice now. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. And breathe. As thoughts arise, do not follow them. Simply watch them come and go, like clouds drifting across the sky. The more you practice this stillness, the more you will notice moments of clarity, moments when the mind is free from its usual chatter. These moments are not empty, they are full of presence, awareness, and peace. But clarity is not just about stillness. It is also about focus. Think of a magnifying glass. When the sun's rays are scattered, they warm but do not ignite. When focused through the glass, they become a powerful beam capable of starting a fire. Your mind works the same way. Scattered attention leads to distraction, but focused attention creates transformation. Ask yourself, what in your life deserves your full attention? Is it your work, your relationships, your health, your dreams? Choose one thing today that truly matters to you, and give it your undivided attention for even a few minutes. Notice the difference this makes. When you bring clarity and focus to your actions, you align with the flow of life. And life, in turn, supports you. Now let us address a common fear, the fear of stillness. For many, the idea of sitting with oneself is daunting. Why? Because stillness strips away distractions, leaving us face to face with our true selves. And often, what we see are the parts of ourselves we have ignored or avoided. But let me ask you, what might you discover if you had the courage to face yourself? One of the greatest discoveries you can make in stillness is that you are not your thoughts, nor are you the roles you play. Beneath the surface of the mind is a vast, silent awareness. This awareness is who you truly are. When you touch this awareness, you realize that you are not bound by your past, your fears, or your limitations. You are infinite potential, waiting to be expressed. But awareness alone is not enough. To live a life of clarity, you must also act. Clarity without action is like a compass without movement. It shows the way but does not take you there. Ask yourself, what is one step I can take today to align my life with my deepest truth? It does not have to be grand or dramatic. Even a small step, taken with intention, can change your course. And now, let us speak of gratitude. Gratitude is the bridge between chaos and clarity. When you are grateful, you shift your focus from what is lacking to what is present. Gratitude grounds you in the here and now, dissolving the illusion of scarcity. Try this, at the end of each day. Write down 3 things you are grateful for. Be specific. Instead of saying, "I'm grateful for my family," say, "I'm grateful for the hug my child gave me today." Notice how this practice changes your perspective over time. But clarity is not just about perspective. It is also about connection. When you see life clearly, you realize that you are not separate from others or the world around you. You are part of an intricate web of existence, where every thought, word, and action creates ripples. This realization brings both humility and responsibility. Let me ask you, if your life is a ripple in the vast ocean of existence, what kind of ripple do you want to create? As we near the end of this journey, I leave you with one final practice. Each morning, before you start your day, take a moment to set an intention. An intention is not a goal, it is a guiding principle. It could be as simple as, today, I choose kindness, or today, I will act with courage. Write it down and carry it with you, returning to it whenever you feel lost or distracted. In clarity, there is freedom. In clarity, there is power. The chaos of the mind is not your destiny, it is merely a challenge. An opportunity to discover the infinite potential of the present moment. And as you embrace this moment, you embrace life itself. Transcending limits. Embracing freedom, the final path to inner liberation. Now we arrive at the final leg of our journey. Together, we have explored the shadows of the mind, cultivated clarity, and glimpsed the limitless expanse of the present moment. What remains is to integrate these truths into every fiber of your being, so that freedom becomes not a fleeting state, but your natural way of living. Let me ask you, if you could be free, truly free, from all that binds you, what would you do with your life? Freedom is not the absence of challenges. It is the ability to face them with a calm, unshakable center. It is not about escaping responsibility but about meeting it with grace and purpose. To transcend limits is not to deny their existence, but to rise above them. To see them for what they are, temporary constructs of the mind. Let us begin here, with the concept of self. Who are you? Are you the sum of your experiences, your achievements, your failures? Or are you something deeper? Something eternal? Most of us define ourselves by external markers, our roles, possessions, and relationships. But these are impermanent. To anchor your identity in the transient is to live in fear of losing it. True freedom comes when you realize that who you are is not defined by what you have or what you do, but by the awareness that observes it all. Take a moment to reflect. Who is the I that notices your thoughts, your feelings, your body? This I is pure consciousness, untouched by the storms of life. When you live from this place, nothing can truly harm you, for you are no longer bound by the ego's need to protect, compare, or control. But awareness alone is not enough. To live freely, you must also let go. Let go of what? You ask. Let go of the stories you tell yourself about who you are and who you must be. Let go of the need for approval, the fear of failure, and the grip of regret. Let go of the past, for it no longer exists. Let go of the future, for it is not yet real. Let go, and you will find that what remains is all you ever needed. Yet letting go is perhaps the hardest lesson of all. It feels like a loss, like giving up. But what if letting go is not about losing, but about gaining? Imagine carrying a heavy backpack on a long hike. The moment you set it down, you feel lighter, freer. The same is true of the mental and emotional burdens you carry. What weight are you ready to set down today? This is where forgiveness comes in. Forgiveness is not about condoning the wrongs done to you. It is about freeing yourself from the chains of resentment. To forgive is to say, I will no longer let this define me. Begin with yourself. Forgive the mistakes you've made, the opportunities you've missed, the ways you've fallen short. Then extend that forgiveness outward, to those who have hurt you, not for their sake, but for yours. Ask yourself, What would my life look like if I truly forgave? How much energy would I reclaim? How much peace would I feel? Freedom also requires courage, the courage to face uncertainty, to embrace change, to step into the unknown. Life is not static, it is a river, always flowing. When you cling to the shore, you resist the natural flow. But when you surrender to the current, you discover that it carries you exactly where you need to go. Let me share a practice with you. Whenever you feel fear, do not push it away. Instead, breathe into it. Feel it fully, without judgment. Ask it, what are you here to teach me? Fear often arises not because something is wrong, but because something is about to change. And change, while uncomfortable, is the gateway to growth. But what lies beyond fear? Joy. Not the fleeting joy of external pleasures, but the deep, abiding joy that comes from being fully alive. This joy is your birthright. It is not something you must earn or achieve, it is simply what remains when you strip away all that is false. How often do you allow yourself to feel this joy? How often do you celebrate the simple fact of being here? Now, in this miraculous moment, freedom is also about connection. When you transcend the limits of the ego, you realize that you are not separate from others. You are part of a vast, interconnected whole. This realization brings both humility and compassion. Let me ask you, if every person you meet is a reflection of the same consciousness that animates you, how would you treat them? How would you treat yourself? Finally, freedom is about purpose. To be free is not to drift aimlessly, but to live with intention. What is your purpose? What unique gift do you bring to the world? This is not a question to answer with your mind, but with your heart. Sit in stillness and listen. Your purpose will reveal itself, not as a grand plan, but as a quiet knowing, a pull toward what feels true. And so, we conclude our journey. But remember, this is not an ending. It is a beginning. The steps we've taken together are not a one-time process, but a way of life. To recognize, investigate, reframe, embody, and transcend is to live consciously, to live freely. As you go forth, carry this truth with you: you are not your thoughts, your fears, or your limitations. You are infinite awareness, boundless potential, and unshakable peace. And from this place of freedom, you have the power to create a life that not only honors your deepest self but uplifts all those you touch. Now, let me leave you with one final question: if you are truly free, how will you choose to live?